Welcome to Club Therapy.
Yes.
Hi, camera. That's the camera. There's a few different cameras. Hi, camera. I'm your host, Emily. This is Mike. Hi, Mike. Mike Roc, actually.
Michael for my friends.
Michael for his friends, like me. He's one of my favorites. I'm so excited to chat with him today. We're going to be talking a little bit about who he is to start, what he does.
Oh, damn.
I know.
Sweet.
I know, big questions. And how long he's been doing it for.
Oh,
I know, big questions.
Revealing the age.
I know.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Emily Chan.
Of course. Thanks for coming on.
How long have we known each other?
What do you think? Like 7
6,
years?
7 years? Yeah.
6, 7.
6, 7.
As-
What is that? I don't know what that
I don't know what it means.
Though.
I'm too old for it too. I keep doing it, but I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
I think I've known you for like
6, 7
or
years.
7 years.
Yeah,
as long as I've been dating Cam.
Yes.
Because that's when I met you. So
okay.
I've been dating Cam for about 6.5-ish
Okay,
years
so
now.
around the same.
Yeah, around the same.
Yeah.
And how'd we meet? We met through Cold Tea.
Yes.
I guess through Cam.
Yes.
And I met you when you're starting to do like or not starting, but you're doing like the Cold Tea barbecues and everything.
I was a part of Cold Tea.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace to that one.
I know. The OG Cold Tea.
Kensington. That was, man, we were just talking about this before we started filming, like, the peak of Toronto, between 2014, 2019, 2020. The peak of life, in my opinion. Like, the world was a better place 6 years ago.
The Raptors won.
Raptors won in 2019.
In 2019.
Yeah.
What else happened in 2019?
No crazy inflation.
No crazy inflation. I know, missed that. That. Oh my God.
It was just, the world was just a different place.
I want to say it was like 2016 to 2019.
Yeah.
And then it kind of peaked in 2019 and then obviously went totally downhill the next year.
And I think that was one of the hard parts is like, we were just so up in life.
Mm-hmm.
And then 8 months later, dude,
immediately down.
Yeah.
Awful.
Like the epitome of like pulling the rug from right out of you. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. No, I hated that.
Yeah.
Those were some of the darkest moments, darkest years of my life. What
really?
about you?
COVID?
Oh, yeah.
Damn. I would say like now.
Oh, now.
Yeah. Post-COVID.
I feel like that is actually more common than during COVID. There's a lot of people that randomly thrive during COVID. They're on their CERB, they're at home, a lot of introverts. It's like introverts like dream.
Yeah.
Being at home during COVID, they're just getting paid to work remotely.
But
I feel like everyone, what?
I said, what a great life.
I know, what a guy. You're like, I wish.
Minus all the deaths.
I know, minus that.
Yeah.
But being able to like work remotely, you can't do that when you're in the service industry.
Like, this is going to sound very entitled and privileged, but like,
Name it.
I felt like just because of how go I am, I didn't mind the break.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mind relax, slow down. We were privileged in Canada to have CERB, so we got that cushion. But, as a DJ that relied on hospitality, nightlife, we didn't get that for 2 years.
Unfortunately.
So I had to pivot. I was bartending and serving.
You were bartending and serving. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Soul Shakers.
At
Shakers
Soul
Club.
Shakers.
Yeah.
Was there anywhere else you were bartending, serving?
Apartment 200.
Right.
Dog,
right.
I did that for one summer.
How did that go?
I moved around in my lifetime and I'm very adaptable. I'm not bratty when it comes to things. My first job when I moved to Toronto in 2013 was Starbucks.
Oh, really?
Dog, I was 26.
That's your origin story.
Yeah.
26 at Starbucks in Toronto.
26 at Starbucks on the path in Toronto. Yeah.
That's like the most Toronto startup kind of experience ever. Path, Starbucks.
Different
26 years old.
26.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I meet a lot of younger DJs, they're like, I'm 22, I'm 21, I'm 19. I want to get to where you are. And I'm like, dude, I'm 15 years in.
Yeah. It takes time.
Tens of thousands
Aging
of
yourself.
hours.
Yeah.
In DJing and nightlife. Whereas you guys are coming in, haven't even hit your 100 hours yet.
Well, I want to hear, how did you start then? How did you start with DJing?
Well, so I'm originally from Vancouver.
Yeah, that's why we love each other.
Nah.
It's something about that West Coast,
It's interesting because there's that West Coast warmth.
I can't put my finger on it,
You know
but
what I
you just
mean?
know right away. Sometimes I get along with someone really well, and I find out they're from Vancouver,
Right.
the West Coast. I'm like, oh, duh,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Particular West Coast people. No.
But Vancouver specifically, and we grew up, I think, in the same area in Vancouver.
Yes, East Van.
Yeah.
And that's a totally different breed in its own. Originally from Vancouver, and then I moved to the Philippines when I was 9 years old. Lived there till I was about 14, and then moved back to Vancouver. Problem child in high school, all that. Got into some dumb yeah, gang stupid and then I had to leave Vancouver and move to Vancouver Island.
You lived in Vancouver Island?
Yeah, my grade 11th year.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, it was a Fresh Prince scenario. Like,
wow.
got in
Yeah,
trouble in
sounds like
Vancouver.
it. Yeah.
I had to live with relatives on Vancouver Island in
Fresh
Nanaimo.
Prince of Vancouver.
No,
BC actually. BC, I might say.
I'll take that.
In Nanaimo.
In Nanaimo.
Oh, that must have been boring.
Dude, I was the only Filipino kid in my school.
You must have, yeah.
Yeah, but it
Wow.
straightened me out. Did
That's
2
good.
years there and then moved back to Vancouver. I was a dancer in my early years before I was a DJ, hip hop, breakdancing. And then 25, 26, I moved to Australia for a year. That was when I started DJing.
In Australia.
My last couple years in Vancouver, I started DJing there and then I moved to Australia.
Did it take off in Australia, would you say, a little bit? Or is
That
just
wasn't
kind of
my
like,
whole reason why I moved there. Like, I moved to
Yeah.
Australia because I was just hitting a low ceiling in Vancouver with like film, because I went to film school, tried to do that as a career, and went through a bad breakup. So I just wanted to get out. As you know,
you're like, I gotta go far.
I go far.
I gotta go
across
really
the
far.
Pacific.
I
Yeah.
gotta go across the Pacific.
And Commonwealth countries, it's easy to get a work visa. So I did that for 10 months. I worked in a Filipino-Australian kitchen. I hung out with like the same 10 people for a whole year because I just
That's
needed
good
to
for you.
reset, be a bit grounded, and then, did a bit of self-reflecting and realized like, okay, like I can move somewhere and adapt and have no problem with it.
So you went to Australia.
Went to Australia, did that. I probably was DJing. I was practicing a lot there, DJed once a month. And then when my visa was done, I didn't want to go back to Vancouver and I enjoyed exploring new places. So I moved to Montreal, lived there for 3 months.
You lived everywhere.
A little bit.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I was firm on staying in Montreal, but then I was
Which
there
was
during
amazing.
one of the polar vortexes. Hell no, minus 70 with the wind.
Hello.
Nobody was hiring. And Quebec being a bilingual province, you had to speak French first and
Right.
and then English when dealing with customers. I couldn't even work at Starbucks in Montreal.
So you're like, okay, I'm gonna move to Toronto.
Moved to
Start
Toronto.
my Starbucks career.
A friend of mine invited me. He was living here. He was just like, he visited me in Montreal, Andrew McPhee. We used to be in the same breakdance crew together in Vancouver. But he was living in Toronto and he was like, dude, I feel like Toronto's more of your pace. Why don't you come, like, live with me, stay on my couch till you find a spot, blah, blah, blah.
Love him.
And I was like, it, okay. Came to Toronto, didn't know what I was going to do, but I was like, it, like whatever first job I could get.
How do you feel like the industry's changed? I mean, I feel like you've been answering that already, like just through this conversation. But genuinely, how do you feel like the industry's changed since you started? And I guess you've been DJing since, like, what year would you say?
I would say it started like 2009.
2009?
Yeah.
I guess when I think about the industry, I mean Toronto specifically, So when you first started in 2013, kind of in the industry, I mean, at your humble origins at Starbucks, how has Toronto changed? What have you seen? Well, like, what are some major differences?
Before I moved here, coming from the West Coast, Toronto had this reputation of the screwface capital. It's like a little bit harder to break into. Certain scenes or cliques were a bit more gate-kept. Social media wasn't what it was back then. You know what I mean?
No.
2013 Instagram, we were just posting photos. Just
It'd be like
photos.
It would just be like a picture of your toe or something.
A picture of your toe.
Hashtag
your sandwich that
Happy
you ate that day.
Monday. Yeah, exactly.
But it wasn't what the marketing app that it is now, because Instagram is just
Yeah.
marketing. Whether it's
100%.
you at home playing video games or, you know what I mean, you just posting memes, it's marketing now. And so that time it was different. Like, I had to break into a city where like it wasn't as welcoming for an outsider to come into, because it was already like, everybody's precious about Toronto scene, Toronto sound, Toronto mentality, so to speak. And so it was a bit harder to get into. And at that time, there was more bars and clubs. Traditional, and I do this because everyone's different, but this is what it was before. Like how you would start as a DJ, you would start playing at like small bars, just to get your name out there, get your reps in, have a place for you to invite people to, and then maybe you get a restaurant gig, like a Cactus Club or an Earl's, where like
You worked at Cactus Club too, right?
I worked at Cactus
Yeah,
Club.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was their
Vancouver
booking
view.
manager and in-house DJ.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like like you did the programming kind of thing? Is that
Yes,
what you
yeah.
mean?
I
Okay,
booked
nice.
the DJ, scheduled them, and I was like their in-house DJ as well. Now, like, you could pull up to a club and be like, hey, I got 30 people, I DJ. And clubs, because of how the times are right now in desperation, they're like, okay, cool. Bring them in. You got that? Awesome, great.
Don't even send me a mix. You're in.
Nah, there's a drug with DJing. Because
Yes.
when when you play the music and you hear something that sounds good that you did, you're like, oh, I can't believe I did that. Oh, like, let me
So
show my
proud of myself.
friends. Oh, look what I did. That's one of the great parts about playing music. DJing is taking other people's art and making art with that. Like, I call it the life's line of cocaine. Because when you do that one hit, when you play that one gig, and everyone's feeding you energy, and everyone's like, "You're amazing. You're on top of the world.
People are
People are
just
getting
going
videos of you."
crazy.
How
Yeah.
do you not, as a human being that's not used to that, not get addicted to that? You
Right?
get this
You're
high
like,
because
wow.
it's attention, it's validation to the max. It's also like on a stage where like you feel like a god.
Well, you're like the main performer. You're putting on a show there.
There's this joke on the internet where like everybody used to dance on the dance floor, but now everyone's just facing a DJ like it's a show.
It's true. I think a lot of places, they kind of set up the venue like that as well, right? Where the DJ's kind of like the main, maybe not at all places, but a lot of places, like the DJ's like kind of on like a bit of like a stage, or like a platform, and they're kind of like the center of the room, and like the room is kind of configured towards the DJ. I know that's kind of like what it's like at ampm Future, those places.
Right. Well, like I would even say like back before COVID, like the big clubs that would have like the DJ booth is up here. You wouldn't really care, right? Like you're like, okay, well, you're not gonna be standing there just like
Absolutely.
like
Now,
you'd be like before, like
Yeah.
you'd be like blah blah blah. But now they kind of like lowered it. You're a little bit closer. You feel more interactive with that exchange because the DJ's closer. They're not as far.
Yeah.
Because before, you would just be like, DJ's up there, whatever, you're with your girls, yada, 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 waiting for the music. I like to think I'm one of the few ones that when people know I'm stepping on board to DJ, do my little sound effects of like,
Oh yeah.
I'm Mike Roc, everybody's like, okay, what's he gonna do?
They know that there's something coming.
But then now there's that pressure of like, every single time I step on, I have to hit it out of the park right away.
Every time.
Every time.
I love the idea of that, but it takes a certain kind of person to be able to handle that pressure. It's not easy. It really isn't.
No. That's why
the
like
pressure to perform.
This is a whole different conversation, but like when we look at like celebrities, actors, musicians, whatever, we're so hard on them, especially when they make human decisions or choices. Dude, like it's not normal to just be put on a pedestal like that
24/7.
So the real maintenance is how do you maintain your ego and your mental health when it comes to that, because I appreciate and love the type of love that I get in Toronto, especially as a DJ. But it does get overwhelming where like, and I'm going to sound so first world problems about it, but like I'm walking down the street on Queen West and I'm with my mom and like I get recognized and they're just, yo, Mike Roc, like, yo, it's Mike Roc. Yo, can we take a picture with you? And I'm with my mom and I'm just like, yeah, but then it's like, I'm not Chris Pine that I can just walk past and they're still going to love me. If I'm like, nah, they're going to be like, what a dick.
Right.
And we supported you? Nah,
like,
fuck
I'm
this
not
guy.
going. You know what? No more,
Yeah.
no more mahjong for me.
Yeah. No more match. No, because this again, like, there's plenty other DJs that they could go to and be like, oh, fuck this guy, he's got attitude. No, let's go to this guy now.
And I feel like it's hard because like then you always feel like you have to like be living a certain way, like you have to be, or you kind of are a bit more performative, or maybe you aren't performative, but you feel like you have to be. So I guess like my question for you is, how do you take care of your mental health outside of DJing? What do you do to kind of like protect that whole other kind of like area of your life, Because I feel like you're almost like two people, right? You're like DJ Mike Roc, you're the performer, you're the guy, and this is the guy, you guys. This guy's been he is he's one of the OGs. He is one of the. I feel like you really helped develop like the scene in Toronto over the last 10 years.
Wow,
You're a big contributor to it.
That's a big compliment.
I'm not lying.
I will like I'll never say that myself because like I'm not from Toronto, and I'll always say I love Toronto and Toronto's my home, but I will never say that like I'm homegrown Toronto and I'm whatever, because for respect of the city and the people who are from Toronto.
That's true. But I feel like you've really influenced the Toronto like industry, and so there's that side of you, but then there's also the side where there's the other half of the time where you're not on a pedestal, and you're taking care of yourself. And I know you deal with mental health issues. I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Especially nowadays. Come on.
Yeah.
Right. Hello.
Yeah.
But how do you take care of that part of you, the other half of you?
It was a lot of trial and error. Back before COVID, like what I thought was healthy, taking care of myself was, okay, when I'm not DJing, I get to enjoy going out somewhere else and listen to other DJs, listen to the homies play, visit other establishments, go out and eat and network and whatever. So what I thought was like chilling, I'm still on. What they don't tell you when it comes to, and I'm only speaking as like a working DJ, you can't rely on the same 30 people to come to your events.
Oh, yeah.
You have to keep building, networking,
People are tired.
networking.
Yeah. And they age out of it, right?
And they age out of it. They age out of it. Life changes. Health changes.
You have a
know
baby.
what I mean?
You don't go to the club. You're engaged,
No.
You have a 9 to 5. Why would you want to like spend your weekends off, like getting up or getting drunk, and you know what I mean?
Well,
So
that's
you
what
do
I
have to
thought was the plug out was, oh, I get to be the patron at the party. But still being at the party is still work.
Because you're still networking.
You're still
doing all that
networking.
stuff.
Whether or not you want to plug in and plug out, like everyone's talking about work or business or opportunities or scene stuff. I never used to smoke weed before, like, and this heavily. Like, I started smoking weed during COVID. Great time to get into it, I guess.
It is a great time to get. It's honestly the perfect time to get into it.
And then I learned weed calms my ADHD anxiety.
There's a reason for that, right? There's a lot of people, like something I've learned over the years, like from or my professional experiences, like people who do have ADHD and anxiety too, but more so ADHD, they tend to use stimulants because it helps you feel more baseline, right? Because your brain is, you're neurodivergent. Your brain just like working a little bit differently. And so that's why, Adderall, like when people take Adderall, for instance, when they have ADHD, they don't feel like they're on crack. They feel normal, right? Same with other stimulants or other kind of drugs and stuff like that. Like alcohol, you feel like a bit more baseline. You feel like a bit calmer. You smoke weed and you feel like you're able to think and like your mind's calm finally.
It calms the voices in my head.
It does.
Like, especially like post DJ set, I'm at home, it's 3 a.m. I'm hyped up on adrenaline, an energy drink, tequila, the sugars from that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like still stimulated.
Yeah.
And so like when I'm in my living room and I'm like, whoa, especially if like, I had a crazy night and I'm jumping on top of something and all this. Like, mind you, having gone to being, avidly visiting Asia for the last little bit, man, they party all night, all day, like outside of North America. All day, all night, Whereas here, we only have 3 hours.
Yeah, it's real. And people really only get to the club at like 11?
11, maybe 12. And then it's 2 hours of hurry up, let's get f***ed up.
Yeah.
So we're speed drinking. We're speed, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so same thing with the performance aspect. I'm like, okay, I got to get up here to get in party mode because the party relies on my energy. So I have to be up there. And that takes a while to come down from. So I would like, I resorted to weed at the end of my sets. And then I would only smoke after my sets. But then as mental health, time goes on, I find myself smoking every day.
Yeah.
Wake and bake. It calms the voices in my head. Which I know is not super healthy to resort to, but it's just, that's all I have right now.
And I don't think it's the worst thing ever, right? There's other things that you could do that could be like a lot worse, like drinking, for instance. I think weed has a bit of a bad rep.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing ever.
No.
Is it like the healthiest coping mechanism? Probably not. But I don't think it's a terrible coping mechanism. And if that's like what works for you now, that's okay, right? We all need something. For me, oh my God, I used to love smoking, and then I had like such a terrible experience with it.
Oh no. What was your terrible experience, if you don't mind me asking?
Of course. I love you asking. This is funny. One time I got blackout drunk with my roommate in second year university, maybe second, third year. And we had like a shared bong. Okay. And I thought she'd cleaned it the night before. She thought I'd cleaned it. So we were blackout drunk. We come home from the club. We have the idea of cleaning our bong. And we put rubbing alcohol in it, let it soak overnight.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
you know where this is going. You know where this is going.
Yeah.
We let it soak overnight. In the morning, when you wake up from a blackout and you're still like so drunk and you're just kind of out of it. I was like, it'll help wake and bake, right?
Yeah.
I go and I hit the bong, and I forgot that we had put rubbing alcohol in it, and so I just smoked a whole bong. You guys listening to this? A whole bong of rubbing alcohol, and like I think it was like a popper bowl as well. Okay,
Good
like
Lord.
It was so bad.
Good Lord.
It was so bad, and I literally thought. There's been a few times, to be honest, I'm like a hypochondriac. I always think I'm dying. This is one of the actual times. So I was like, oh yeah, this is it. And I looked it up. I was like, can you die from this? And people were like, yeah, you can die from this. Yeah, they were like, yeah, you can die. Go to the hospital right now.
Damn.
And so it was like a 7-hour like high that I was like so anxious and conscious of. It was like the weirdest feeling I've ever.
You could tell the difference that like, oh,
totally. Because it's like, you know, when you smoke and then it calms you down and you kind of, for most people, right, it calms you down. You feel like a bit better. And you're kind of like less aware. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when you're anxious and you drink and like, it kind of just numbs it a little bit. It's like I was so hyper aware of everything I was experiencing. And then I also, my heart was like going like it was just going like crazy. Like it literally felt like I was having a heart attack. Like I think I measured it and my heart rate was like over 200 or something. I know. So since then, I've been scared of smoking.
That's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
I miss it though, to be honest.
Edibles?
Even that, like I think because like I had such a bad experience with just weed that one time.
Yeah,
like
okay.
it like fully
That's
turned
fair.
me off.
Yeah.
But I don't think, to be honest, I don't think it's the worst thing ever.
No.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of do what you need to do sometimes to like make it through. And if that's like what you need to do to like kind of calm yourself down. I know that feeling too when I come home from a bottle service shift. I'm so hyped up still. I'm drunk normally, like 95% of the time. I can't sleep until like 5 or 6 a.m. and I don't really have anything to kind of calm me down and bring me down. Like I maybe take a shower and put on a show. But food, I kind of miss having something like that, you know, that helped me kind of just calm down, relax, go to sleep, you know, and then the next day feel like a little bit more calm.
Do you think you'd ever get back on it?
I like the idea of it. I'm such a scaredy cat though now with drugs. Like I'm scared of everything. I like don't trust drugs. I don't trust myself with drugs anymore. I feel like because I'm so in my head about everything, I feel like even if I was to like, you know, take an edible, like a really small portion of an edible and actually be physically okay, I would get in my head about it.
You'd be very anxious.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Because you'd be like, okay,
yeah.
And it's the
what if.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's also the your body going, okay, remember the last time we were like this?
You remember the last time this happened?
Yeah, remember the last time it was inside of us? And like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you probably wouldn't even enjoy it because you're too paranoid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I try to take care of my own mental health and like other ways. Like I do Pilates.
Nice.
I try to I have a therapist. Do you see a therapist? I don't know if that's TMI.
Yeah, I've been in and out of therapy since I was like
know.
a teenager. My dating record could pretty much be on the same par as like my therapy record.
Right. Right.
Because finding a therapist is like dating.
Yeah.
I find when
you want to
people
shop around for the right one.
Shop from the right one. Like people think that one session with a therapist
it's
is
gonna
like
heal everything.
Or you're like, oh, this person isn't for me because of blah blah blah. I think you gotta go on like, you know, metaphorically speaking, like 2-3 dates.
Yeah, just to get
/
a good
sessions.
feel. I agree.
To really understand what the relationship that you could have with the therapist.
This tells me that you've been in therapy. That you are saying this right now because it's so true. You're not wrong. And I literally say this to all my clients right off the bat. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to cure you.
Yeah.
I can help you though, but I'm like, you got to give me a bit of time and we have to be realistic with like, you know what I mean? What we can do in a 50-minute session. And honestly, a lot of it is taking the stuff you learn from therapy and applying it like on a day-to-day or like a weekly basis, you know? Yeah.
That's the work. That's the work that you got to do. Like people think that, you know, when everything's all good, summertime, you don't put a Band-Aid on clear skin. You put a Band-Aid on a cut. You think like, oh yeah, everything's all good. I'm going to do some self-work. You're putting a Band-Aid on a clear skin. Yeah. But when it's winter and you hate everything.
It's getting tough.
And
right
all
now.
that, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think people think that therapy is that Band-Aid for everything.
Yeah.
Where therapy is literally just the mirror. And it's an infinity mirror. Look at this, but beyond everything.
Yes. And you have to be so open to, and like
genuinely
willing to like accept the help too. I will talk about anxiety and stuff like that with my clients like all day. And then I really try to practice like what I preach. It's hard though sometimes. I want to ask you about your favorite places to DJ in the city.
Yeah.
And why?
Yeah. It changes every 4 or 5 years with what's left open.
Right.
If we're going to talk currently where I enjoy playing.
And then maybe beforehand.
Yeah. Okay. Currently, every venue for me that I'm currently at have different reasons why I love them. ampm. One of the things I love about DJing at ampm.
I'm like, ampm, right?
Blink twice if you're okay, Mike.
It better be.
Yeah, Cam's right here with a
yeah.
No, ampm because it's different when you're best friends with the owners and you have this kind of like, okay, like let's all get it together. You know, let's make money together. So like when I play there, and I hope my presence has that type of influence, still, but it's like I enjoy playing there because I get to work with my best friends, and
Yeah.
that stage for me is one of the more younger stages, so it's still he gives a type of relevance for me.
Kind of like nostalgic, would you say?
Also, like,
A
yeah,
little
being
bit?
one of
Yeah.
the first ones in ampm with the rise of ampm,
Yeah.
that nostalgia as well.
sure.
And it's weird to say that because it's one of the newer spots in the city, but it's now 3 or 4 years old.
And I feel like it has become an establishment.
Yeah.
When we're walking around and Cam has like a big ampm
Oh
on a
yeah,
saying, always, oh,
left
you the
and
ampm
right.
guy?
Yeah.
People ask me, they're like, are you the ampm girl? I'm like,
Are you
everyone thinks I'm a promoter
Mrs.
too. I'm like,
ampm?
Mrs. AMPM? So AMPM is one of your favorites, though. I like that's a
AMPM?
great reason, though. I like that because of the people that are there, right? And like you feel like you were like a part of it when it kind of was coming up.
And I
everything.
could say the same thing about all the other venues, like Apartment
Yeah.
200. Like that's probably now one of my longest residencies
Mhm.
monthly since like 2016, 15. Yeah, just when they first opened, a few years after they first opened. I'm good friends with like Kit and like Zach, Nate. Those are homies as well, and I love what they've done with. They created their own way of how to party in Toronto. Apartment 200, right?
Sure.
It was the back in those days, like, and still is like it was always the spot for the new
Yeah.
the new stuff.
And they're very unique, right? Like
Mhm.
apartment really has its own niche, and I think they do it so well. Same with AMPM, right? Like it
Mhm.
really has its own niche, and they do it really well too.
Mhm.
But they are very unique than the classic like club.
King
you
Street,
know,
yeah.
you don't have to dress up. You can kind of come as you are.
Mhm.
There's kind of like things to do there.
Mhm.
You know, it's more positive. Like every time I go to apartment, staff's always really friendly. Know everyone.
You know
like,
everybody, and it's like that. They started the whole like mid-century make your place look like an aesthetic spot
Mhm.
with their furniture and how it is. Now everybody's copying that feel.
Mhm.
The make it feel like your house, but it's a bar or whatever. And they molded this type of like house party, half club, half house party feel. And so that was one of the great parts about that, dude. That's where I
So cool.
really met Benny. Like
True, because
Benny was
bartending
apartment OG. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like Benny's apartment OG. Like
back in the day.
that's how we got close, and 'cause I was there a lot, especially the Sundays. Apartment Sundays was like
Service industry, like
Sunday
special.
service, which is Sunday
Yeah.
service now. You know what I mean? Like, and Ben was a part of that. Apartment has that spot where it was like it created a type of way of partying that where we're at now. And
Definitely.
Mahjong Mordecai, like also good friends with the owners, Christina Vera, Josh Emily at
Mhm.
Mordecai, Kyle Wong at Mahjong, and those are really my circuit. That's my circuit, and that's where I'm usually at right now. Like, I only really play at places that I want to really play at. Because I
Which
feel
is-
like in this, where I'm at now with my career, it's like, okay, you get to choose where you want to play,
Yeah.
but I also make sure that you got to keep executing and delivering.
wanna be
Boss office
consistent.
girls, you're easily replaceable.
Oh, unfortunately.
You know what I mean?
Unfortunately.
It's business at the end of the day. It's like when you're in
Mhm.
hospitality and you're in this scene and family and community become a thing, we forget that it's still a business.
I think people forget that a lot. And then it can lead to like sometimes like awkward discussions. One of the reasons I love AMPM so much, why it's so different than other places, not to constantly promo AMPM. I'm sorry, guys. I do love working there though because I love the people that I work with, right? And kind of like what you're saying, when you work with people you love that become family in your community,
Yeah.
you feel that respect from them.
Yeah.
You feel like loved. You feel appreciated, but you also feel like safe, right?
You enjoy going to work.
And you enjoy going. Yeah, like I genuinely, every single time I'm on my way to AMPM, I'm excited. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I leave most nights, right? I'm human. I have a bad night every now
For sure.
and then.
Yeah.
Right. But most nights I leave happy as well. But it makes such a big difference, like with who you're working for and who you're working with.
Right.
But even sometimes I forget as well that it's like business, like Cameron, my boyfriend, is like the owner of the place I'm working at. And sometimes during service, things will be really hectic and I need his help and I'll like pinch him or something,
Mhm.
I would never do that if I was somewhere else. Imagine me pinching someone at Lost and Found. Me pinching like the owner of,
Imagine pinching Kit.
Imagine pinching Kit. But you know what I mean? You can't do
Right.
that. And then I forget, like, oh, that's actually at the same time, like it gets messy sometimes, it can't be awkward.
The lines get blurred.
The lines get blurred.
Yeah. I can relate because it's one thing with DJing, it's very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And, I used to have like a Saturday monthly residency at AMPM.
You did. I
And
remember
then
that.
that went away when the music started changing a bit.
More EDM.
More EDM focus, especially with the type of crowd that is now going there.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in the beginning when they cut my monthly, I was like, yo, like,
I'm hurt.
what's up? Like, and they're like, oh, we're going a different direction, blah, blah, blah. And like, as a DJ, you can't take it too personally, going back to the business side of things, when like the owners of the club are like, yo, like, we have to switch things up because
this is just what
you
makes
got to
sense for
follow the
us.
money. You know what I mean? And especially in a recession where like every dollar counts.
It does.
Before COVID, we weren't pressured to sell bottles. We weren't pressured to find spenders. That's why you had hosts and promoters, but then that's where like establishments had that direct relationship with spenders and people like that.
Now it's so different.
Post-COVID, those 2 years scared everybody from going out. And a lot of like the network that I had, A, either grew out of it, B, was like, oh shoot, like we need to be healthier with life and not party and drink so much. And so coming out of COVID, it was this whole like, okay, like you're still a good DJ, but you're losing the network that usually goes out. So you gotta adapt and build a whole new network with the younger kids that are out now.
But sometimes it's hard, right? No, I'm 27. How old are you, Mike? I'll bleep it.
No, that's cool. I'm 39. 39.
Bleep. He's bleep. But it's hard. Like, I feel like there just feels like such a big gap between, we're also like, we're like in different like generations a little bit too. Although I feel like, we're the same.
We came up together in this scene.
Exactly. Like, I do feel like we kind of came from the same generation.
Me and Cam talk about that too. We're like, we kind of came up together.
It does feel like there's such a huge gap between our generation and the younger generation.
Yeah.
I do love them. And I think they're really like, what I'm recognizing is like that generation is so many sweethearts from that generation, lots of really, really good, kind people, but I don't know. I just really feel the gap. And that's probably how people felt about us when we were that age, right? Like, I'm sure it's just, you know what I mean? Just like a generational gap, but it's hard to want to go out and like create that network, you know what I mean? With someone so much younger than you.
Well, this is my theory on that. Like my whole theory with it is like COVID, it was, people got, again, like what I was talking about earlier, like it gave them time to think about where they want to spend energy, money, and their health. And when things opened back up, nobody from our generation wanted to party yet. So it was the younger kids that were like, they didn't care, whatever. I have money or OSAP and all this stuff like that. And they were out. And then because before COVID, when you were first going out, it was mainly older people, right, that were out. And so you kind of like learned how to be out by either watching the older generation or hanging out with the older generation.
Yeah, that's so true.
And then everyone kind of like had this like, I don't want to say hamster wheel, but like the way to be out, whether it's like the etiquette or how to tip or how to be in the spaces.
I learned when I was, and I learned the hard way, of course, but when I was kind of, starting to get into the industry and everything, you learn the hard way that like favors aren't owed. They're not, you know what I mean? They're not owed. They should never be expected. Even if you're friends with someone, you should never expect like a 100%. Free shot.
Yeah.
You should never expect like free cover, you know? It's a nice thing for someone to do and they likely will do it, but you should never have these expectations. And that's something like, that's where the etiquette's kind of lacking a little bit, I feel like normally like we're kind of in / like about to, I feel like we're already in a recession, but we're about to hit one technically speaking. But like, I wonder if like after that, we come out of that and like club culture is like different again, because I feel like these major events is like really like, that's really what shifts like the culture, so I'm kind of curious if like we'd ever go back to like what it used to be, or like maybe it becomes like something different and maybe something good as well. Right now I do know what you mean. It's changed and I'm not the biggest fan of it right now. I don't like hate it, but I've noticed it. I felt it just from being in the industry for myself. Like I've been in the industry for almost 10 years now,
How do you feel about the constantly increasing minimum wage?
I mean, personally, because I make minimum wage when I'm, working. So, I mean, I'm okay with it. But also at the same time, like my boyfriend is someone who has to pay people minimum wage. And I mean, ampm is doing well and they're doing great. However, running a business, especially of that size, with so many moving parts, takes a ton of time and money. And I know that it can affect, like, you know what I mean, the amount they profit. Like there's often a lot of months where a lot of these clubs, even though on the surface they seem like they're doing well, they don't even profit at all, you know? And then labor costs like play a big role into that, you know? Even like when sometimes we have like kind of like events at ampm, it won't be super busy, and then um like, Cam will have to pay like a lot of like staffing costs, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like I think it's good, and I think it's important. I think honestly, if anything, minimum wage should be raised more, because to like make up for the cost of living right now, like I do think it's like necessary and good, but like I see how it does impact people who like own businesses and who, you know what I mean, like actually have to pay that cost.
Because I think
know?
the
I can
bigger
understand that as
impact
well.
of the bigger negative impact is actually on the consumers, where it's like,
Yeah.
where are they going to get the money to pay their employees?
Yeah.
Price is going to go up.
Exactly.
And I called this before COVID, because everybody was like, let's get the minimum wage. I'm like, guys, where do you think that money's going to come from?
Exactly.
Because
Like,
you're
that
asking a
means
mom
that
and pop shop to fork out
now
more
an
money.
extra, like,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And so, like, on the topic of like
Such a
club
good
life,
point.
ampm, what does that mean? Door is probably going to go up. Bottle price is going to go up. Alcohol is probably going to go
Co-check.
up. You know what I mean? Co-check is going to go up.
All of a sudden you're paying out the washroom attendant.
You got to pay the washroom attendant. Security. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Security, like, a lot of people don't understand. Security is expensive.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you also have
Huge
to follow
cost.
the rules of how many security people you need,
Per
how many
whatever,
exits, how many
yeah, the
people, blah, blah, blah,
capacity.
blah.
Yeah.
And so, on like, I can only understand, I can only empathize when it comes from like the owner side of how to keep the boat rocking when that goes up. So
Mhm.
so my whole point with this is just, it's a good and it's a bad thing. Obviously, I want
Yeah.
people to make money, but then where we are in this country,
Everything's just gonna keep going up,
it's
right?
going to keep going. And it's
Yeah.
going up too fast. That's
It's scary.
that's another thing, is it's going up too fast. Like, I'm all for making for people to make money, but I think it's happening too fast where we can't even catch up
Mhm.
to rent, to groceries.
Oh my god, I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's
dude, like,
expensive getting groceries nowadays.
separate conversation, but I just saw I saw an Instagram video where like some Americans are walking the Mexican border just to get their teeth done.
Oh yeah.
Cause, like, America's a whole different conversation, but like in
It's
Canada, like,
yeah, no,
we're
everything's
better
expensive.
off. But like, if we're gonna talk about the medical side of things, it's like we have free medical, but
It's
damn,
expensive.
it's expensive to get good medical.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I need this recession to go.
My plan is move to Japan, and
I love that. That's not a bad plan. That's not a bad plan. I want to
Yeah.
move away too. I think that's my plan in the future, like in the next like year or two, kind of like, is to like actually just like
where would you
move.
go?
I think somewhere warm. I noticed
Yeah,
I do
that's
better.
the general consensus right
Yeah,
now.
somewhere warm. Or like I love the idea of going to Japan or like a city like that. I absolutely love like like I would actually say Kyoto is probably one of my favorite cities in the world, but Japan in general as a whole, one of my favorite countries.
Was that your
ever.
first time, you and Cam?
I've been one time beforehand. I went in high school with my family.
And so,
So
okay,
that's my second time.
okay, so
Yeah.
this is more of like your actual adult
Brain.
comprehension of
Yes.
Japan.
Yeah.
So, in terms of your mental health, what did visiting a
Ooh.
place like that in your adult lifetime, where you are right now in life, do for you?
That's a good question.
Because everyone's on the, Japan is the new line of cocaine of life.
Absolutely.
Like Asia in general, but Japan right now.
I feel like something about Japan, I think I really like that. First of all, I notice people are very hardworking there. There's a crazy creative scene in Japan,
Mm.
and I just feel like something that's so cool about Japan, and this is also why I like love living in a big city, and why I'd still like love to live in a big city in the future. Every like alley, like every single like corner, there's like so much going on. I think my ADHD kind of loves it a little bit because it's so overstimulating.
Overstimulating, yeah, yeah.
But I just love it. Everyone's doing something. Everyone has like this like really cool random niche. Like there's no shortage of like places in Japan to go to. You could like literally every single day. Like I genuinely believe every single day you could like just discover and explore like a new spot, multiple new spots. And everyone who's creating these new spots are so passionate about it. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are doing that here too, right? But I think it just it inspired me to be like more passionate and yeah, just like more passionate about the things that I'm doing. I think it also inspired me to kind of hustle a little bit, which is like funny. I'm traveling, you normally think it's like a relaxing thing, but like I felt kind of inspired by like the hustle there. And it was actually while I was there, I kind of thought about doing this podcast. This is where this podcast was. What's the word?
Inspired.
Yeah. Maybe inspired. I'm like, the seed was planted.
Yes.
There. But it's just, I think traveling in general is a good reminder for me that I can literally do whatever I want. You know what I mean? And so I can do that in my profession. I can do that in my personal life. Yeah, it inspired me in like those kind of ways, you know? And I think just traveling in general always is so positive for my mental health because it gives me a really good perspective of, I think, Toronto. You know, you leave Toronto, you come back, and I feel like you appreciate like it a bit more.
Grass is greener.
Grass is greener, right? Like I have a bit of space in Toronto and I miss it so much. Like I really do love the city, you know? But it makes me feel like a lot more like grateful and appreciative for everything that I have here. Such a treat having you on. My very first podcast guest.
Thank you for having me.
Yay,
wow. Thank you
Mike
for
Roc.
wanting to have this vampire and
no, of course, the two old heads. We got to like hash it out a little bit.
Yeah.
I keep saying I'm an old head. I'm 27.
But I feel like in this industry, that's an old head.
Oh, that's an old head.
Yeah. Well, especially for how long you've been in it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
We got the two old heads together.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Wow, Emily Chen, I'm so proud of you for what you're starting.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's nice to see you do more because I know you've been in, you know, mental health like care, like, you know, CAMH working there and all that. Not to put your laundry out there, but I'm so proud of you being an actual decent contribution to society.
Thank you so much.
You know what I mean?
That's so sweet of you.
We need more. I feel like there's too many DJs.
I know. I'm like, damn, we need plumbers and stuff. You know
we
what
need
I mean?
Plumbers. Dude, it took me like a week to get a plumber.
We need nurses.
We need nurses.
We need nurses.
No
we need
more
teachers.
No more DJs.
Everyone's
no more
teaching now.
bottle service girls. No more influencers.
I know. No, literally. I agree. You know what? I'm going to keep fighting the good fight.
No, please there.
I'm going to keep,
Anytime you want to have me back on board, I'm down.
Oh, you'll be back on.
Yay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Love.
Bye, guys.
Yay.